What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, and I'm here to give my take on last night's episode of Survivor Winners at War. Yes, we had the big premiere of Survivor Winners at War last night, and I was so excited about it. Like, all day, it was just something I looked forward to, and I couldn't wait for it to premiere. So what did I think of it? Well, I think that I felt the way that most Survivor fans probably felt, and that was I loved it. I loved it. I love this episode. This episode, it has been years since I've watched an episode of Survivor and felt so much tension, felt so much personal stake involved in what was happening with the votes and what was happening at the challenges. And I genuinely have the people that I'm rooting for, and I don't want to see them voted out. So, there was so much nervousness and tension during that first tribal council last night. I was so afraid Boston Rob and Parvati was going to go. They're the two that I'm rooting for the most, is Boston Rob and Parvati. They're my favorites. I know that they've played lots of times. They're still my favorites. So let's talk first about the marooning. I like the idea of Jeff meeting them all on this little tiny pop-up island, probably in Fiji is my guess. And I liked the idea of the toast, the Survivor toast, where he popped the champagne and they all celebrated 40 seasons of Survivor, 20 years. I can't even fathom that I've been watching this for 20 years. I'm 39 years old. I've been watching Survivor more than half of my life. Right at about half my life. That's insane to me. That is insane to me. And when Jeff actually broke it down last night, that those first seasons of Survivor, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there's no iPhone. These things didn't exist. I'm like, even YouTube didn't exist back then. I mean, so Survivor has been around for so long, 20 years, and they really did a good job. Yes, I wish Hatch was there. But they really did a good job of getting players that represented each era of Survivor. And to see those players all standing together, giving a toast before going to war, a drink before war is always a good idea. I thought that was fantastic. And then the first challenge. The first challenge was everything you want that first challenge to be. It was physical. It was brutal. And there was no puzzles involved. There's no puzzles involved. And I'm okay with puzzle challenges. I am. I just don't like it when they're all puzzle challenges, because then that gives the advantage to people who are inherently good at puzzles. So the first challenge really set the tone. And for me, the highlight of that first challenge was when Parvati was so close to grabbing the pole, and then they got pulled away, and they ended up losing the point. So yeah, that was a... Here's another observation. Boston Rob is still really good at challenges. Yeah, it looks like my hero put on a fat suit. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I love Boston Rob. He's clearly, 10 years older than he was last time he played. Our bodies change as we get older, so I'm not fat shaming anybody. Internet, don't get out your pitchforks. It was a joke. I told my wife actually that I finally look like one of my heroes because my build and Boston Rob's build are pretty similar now. But he's still good at challenges. His team was the only team that won a point in that first challenge. In that second challenge, getting over that barrel, he's the one that was innovative and came up with the idea to get on shoulders and launch over. He's still good at challenges. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So let's talk about what looks like a split. We are going to have a split between new school and old school. And to be honest with you, I kind of expected that split to happen. I kind of expected the old school players to band together and the new school players to band together. And I'll tell you what, I got giddy. I might have squealed a little bit. I might have squealed a little bit when Parvati and Boston Rob joined forces with Ethan. If I could have picked three people that I wanted to be in an alliance, it would have been those three. Parvati, Rob, and Ethan. Just because they know the game so well, especially Rob and Parvati. They know the game so well. They're so good at it. And one observation that I made last night was how how cool, how collected they were, especially Rob and Parvati. How calm, cool, and collected they were, even when Rob found out that his name had been thrown out there. How he approached it. He went to Danny and he talked it through. And he was able to get her to switch her vote without her even realizing that he was manipulating her to switch her vote. And just, there's so much experience and so much knowledge on how to play this game between Rob and Parvati. And they were just so calm and so cool and so collected, and it really came easy for them. And I was really surprised at how easy it came for them to manipulate this team of winners to do what they wanted. Because when it comes down to it, I'm sure that Rob and Parvati were the ones that made the call to get rid of Natalie. So I think Rob and Parvati are going to hook up, and I think they're going to be a force in this game until there's a tribe mix-up. And then when there's a tribe mix-up, I look for them to go home right away. That's kind of what I see happening. I think they're going to do really well from the get-go. And then there's going to be a tribe swap. They're going to mix things up. And then Rob and Parvati are going to be in trouble very quickly. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Rob, Parvati, and Ethan take it all the way to the end, final three. But I feel like there's going to be a tribe swap, and I feel like that's going to create some problems for them. So, Natalie gets voted out, and out of all the people in this game that I would have chosen to be first one voted out, it would have been her or Michelle. I'm just not a big fan of either one of them. I didn't love Natalie's game in San Juan del Sur, and I definitely didn't like Michelle's game in Kaoh Rong. I would have taken Ty or Aubrey over Michelle. I did not think Michelle was the right person to win Kaoh Rong at all. I would have rather seen Jenna Maraska in there, Tina Wesson in there. There's probably several other female leaders. Visepsha. I would have taken Visepsha over Michelle. I'm not a fan of Michelle. And Natalie just got on my nerves. She just got on my nerves. I don't know why. She just did. And so I would have liked to see Natalie or Michelle go first. Let's talk about how starstruck some of these new players were, especially Ben. Ben was really starstruck with Boston Rob. In fact, he spilled the beans on everything. And that was hilarious to me because I'm a Ben fan. If you go back and you look at some of my videos where I rank players, I ranked Ben pretty high. Because I like Ben. I like the way that he played. I like the immunity run that he went on. I like the fact that he won when all the cards were stacked against him. I liked Ben. But when you put him in front of Boston Rob and Parvati, he became a blabbering little fool, and he even said as much. So that was hilarious, and that was great. And then you got the Adam and Denise mistake. It's one of those things where, obviously Rob and Parvati were off walking and talking. Other people were off walking and talking. It just, for whatever reason, people honed in on the idea of Adam and Denise off walking and talking that they became suspicious of. And some of that might be because they are kind of new school players, and they're always moving, and they're always constantly trying to adapt and make big moves in the game. So I honestly look for Adam and Denise to become targets early. They already are targets, but I look for them to maybe get voted out early. Denise is really good at listening and making people feel valued, and I think Denise is really good at reading people. But Adam, on the other hand, I like Adam. He's just so, what's the word I'm looking for? Naive. He's incredibly naive, and I don't think he's going to be long for this game. But Natalie went to Island of Extinction. She gave her fire token to Jeremy, and now Jeremy has 2 fire tokens. And I think Jeremy's going to have a grudge. I really do. I think he's going to have a grudge, and I think he's going to make a big move against Rob or Parvati, and I think that they're going to have to be ready for that. And I like Jeremy. But I like Rob and Parvati more. So then we have our other immunity challenge. I already talked about it a little bit. The two MVPs of that challenge were clearly Rob and then Jeremy, when Jeremy was able to land those rings. And they won. It was a nice comeback from behind win. I love come from behind wins. And that sent the Red Tribe to Tribal Council, where they voted out Amber. Predictable. I don't know how I feel about this whole Poker Alliance thing becoming a big part of the game. And it might be a big part early on, and eventually they'll probably forget all about this Poker Alliance thing. But I think that seems like a superficial way to decide who you're going to vote out, you know. But let's talk about Yul. Yul clearly understands the game, and I love the way that he's approaching it, bringing in the free agents, creating this alliance without anybody even knowing there's an alliance being created. And I think Yul is going to go really far in this game. Unless a tribe swap does him in too, I think Yul's going to go really far in this game because he just understands it so well. And I really like him as a player. You know, he's one of my favorites to go all the way. But Amber got voted out. Like I said, it was predictable. I think it was going to be Amber or Rob. One of them was going to get voted out early. And I honestly think that with her voted out, that's going to take less... That's going to make the target on Rob's back a little bit smaller. Much like it did Tyson in Blood versus Water. You know, even Jeremy in Blood versus Water. You know, you talk... especially Tyson in Blood versus Water, because his girlfriend got voted out early. And then he just didn't have to worry about her anymore, and he just went on and played the game. And I think that's going to be the effect that Amber's going to have on Rob, is that now that Amber's out, he's going to be mad for a minute, but now it's going to be time to play the game without that baggage. And I think this is going to end up being good for Rob. I could be completely wrong. Maybe he goes off the hook, maybe he goes off the chain and makes some bad moves out of an emotional state, and gets voted out next episode. Who knows? But I really think that it's going to be good for him. Sandra the Queen. So far, she's still the queen. She's got a hidden immunity idol given to her by Natalie. Why did Natalie choose Sandra? I don't know. That one boggled my mind a little bit, but Sandra's got a hidden immunity idol now. She's safe now. How is Sandra? And Sandra is so good at what she does. I did not want her to win Heroes vs. Villains. I didn't. I thought Parvati was the best player in that game, but you cannot deny that Sandra's a good player at this game. Very good. She's very good at staying alive. And she's very good at causing chaos, and we saw that some today. You know, just planting seeds in people's heads. Some truths, some not truths, but just planting those seeds. So Sandra's playing a really interesting game right now. I think it's a little silly she's mad at Rob, because Rob didn't tell her. He was on Island of the Idols with me for 36 days and never told me he was playing again. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I think that's a little silly. That's a little petty. But Sandra can be a little petty. We know that. Tony. Tony's one of my favorites. He is. Outside of Rob and Parvati, Tony's my favorite on this season. And I love the idea that he put himself on house arrest. I can't run around. I can't look for an idol. These people will vote me out. I'm on house arrest. I love that. I love the approach that he's taking, and I think it's going to serve him well. I love that him and Sandra buried the hatchet, but I hope he cuts her throat before she cuts his, because one of them are going to cut each other's throats. I'm sure of that. There hasn't been a whole lot of scrambling for the idol. I was a little surprised by that. But now we know that the idol is given from people on Edge of Extinction. And I don't know how I feel about that yet. We're going to have to wait and see how that plays out. But guys, overall, this was a really good first season. It gave me everything I wanted to see. It served as a sequel to Heroes vs. Villains. It served as a sequel to some other seasons of Survivor. Second Chance. All-Stars to some extent. And it really served as a sequel to some of those big seasons that we love. Micronesia. And I love it when we are able to pick up storylines from previous seasons and continue them. And I think that Survivor is such a unique game show in the sense that it's able to do that. Pick up storylines, continue them, and serve as that sequel to previous seasons. And that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how our favorite characters have grown and how they're going to continue their story arcs from previous seasons. So great first episode. I loved it. There wasn't a moment of it that I did not love. I was just like a kid in a candy store the whole time, just beaming with delight because it was so good. So, that being said, what did you think of this episode of Survivor? Season 40, Winners at War, Episode 1. What did you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it, what you thought about who got voted out, what you think about some of the alliances being formed, and just what you think of the overall feel of this season so far. I'd love to hear your take on it. And thank you so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate you joining me here at the LQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you later.